Konnichiwa and welcome everybody back to Chrono Reviews. It's time for another Jurassic World review, and this time it's nothing less than oh right, it was time for that review. Well, the story goes like this. The other weekend, me and my friend J-Rex, as you met in the Hasbro vs. Kenner quality review, met up again to rewatch Fallen Kingdom, which we love. And he have talked a lot about that doing this, but I never thought he would do it. He left something here. Something he gave to me just to see my reaction and to see me review, just to see if he could get me to make a review that was more negative than my usual very positive reviews. And, well, at first I thought that, what? Did he left a turd on my floor? Oh wait, that's a big pile of shit. Well, let's just get right to it. It's the Hasbro Velocicraptor Delta. And it's the... yeah, that raptor. Or one of those raptors. The Clawless raptors. The raptors without the sickle claw. The total disaster and pinnacle of Hasbro disasters, well, except for the super crappy looking T-Rexes. And I'm not sure where to start. So, well, let's get right into... This is how the package looked. This one is second-hand, out of the package, but this is how the package looks. The package looks totally okay. I can't really complain much about the package. It's similar to what Mattel is doing, but a little bit different layout. And the cardboard hides the claw. Yeah, it hides the big bad flaw of the figure. But back to the figure itself. I'm not sure, J-Rex, if you're my friend anymore. You sadistic bastard. Well, having this black sheep in my collection, well, it's not all bad. It's fun to have something from the Hasbro line, just to have it as well. But when Hasbro came out with this, it was such a disappointment back when Jurassic World was released that I was totally disappointed, and that made me not continue collecting JP toys until Fallen Kingdom came, because I decided when I saw Mattel's good ones that yeah, I actually want to continue collecting dinosaur toys because those are really good. And that made me open up the eyes for the few of the Hasbro ones that's totally okay, like the Indominus. So I'm probably going to get the Indominus as the Hasbro figure in my collection. But this one, it's just a bonus. I got it for free, so you're excused, J-Rex, for this time. Well, let's get into the figure itself. It's not all bad, even if it's mostly bad. So let's get to the good pointers first, and then into the bad pointers. First off, my raptor can actually stand. It can stand. I know the Gaming Beaver, for one, that video where he is totally, utterly disappointed at those raptors, I can feel his sadness. But mine can actually stand. I'm actually quite surprised, but mine can stand without much problem. Maybe they are so poorly cast that some of the legs are warped, because they are really thin here. But mine can stand. And it's actually made from quite durable material, so it's not going to break anytime soon. Slightly bendable parts. And something that surprised me though, it's clean. I can't find any single ugly wound. It's clean. It's a healthy dinosaur. It does not have wounds. Are Hasbro worth an applause? Maybe. Make an applaud for Hasbro. But the paint job, it's not that bad. I mean, it's cast in a single colored plastic. It has the stripes slightly neatly toned. And actually, the fingernails and the toenails are both painted. That's something that actually Hasbro are good at. They paint the fingernails on the dinosaurs. Well, this eye are slightly chipped, so let's check at this eye. The eye are actually very clean and neatly painted. Well, the bad point is that the eye should be a snake eye and not a round pupil, like the T-Rex should have the round eye. But the paint job is good. And the paint here are slightly nice toned. The overall detail on the head are quite nice. The paint job on the teeth is quite sloppy. But the overall shape and detail on the head are totally okay. And the detail in general are slightly good. And articulation is very basic. It's cut jointed arms and cut jointed legs. You can't move the jaw. And that's quite disappointing. A raptor this size should be able to move the jaw. So let's get into the negative parts. I might find some more good pointers during the way, but let's get straight into the negative parts. Well, as I started with, the jaw is not articulated. It could have been, but it's not. And the color itself, it does not look like Delta, not one bit. Delta is supposed to be slightly like Charlie, a green raptor, but darker green and with blue stripes mixed in. So the only thing this one have correctly is the dark greenish bluish here and the blue stripes. The rest is totally not Delta, not at all. It's not Delta. It's just a Velociraptor, if you could even call it that without the claw. And look at the details. They are sharp here, but they are totally melted out, like some melted poop, and the color does not make it any better. The details are so smoothly round, but the details are sharper on the neck and on the legs and arms and the tip of the tail, so it does not match up. The sculpture here is so amateurish done that looks like a fan sculpture. And look at the proportions. Except for the very thin ankles here, the other proportions looks fine when it comes to the body itself and the length of the legs, and it does not have the round butt as Blue had. But it does not match up. Look, the head is somewhat too big. I think the head are oversized or too long. It does not match up with the neck, and the neck are bent like that, so it makes like pressed together. It somehow looks like a big-headed raptor. It's hard to put exactly my finger on what's wrong with the head, but the head is off somehow. The head or the neck. And look at the arms. Don't get me started on the arms. The lower arms are so long. They should have either made the upper arm longer or made the lower arm shorter, like the hand should start here instead of here. It would have made a massive difference. And this thing does not even have... It does not even have a sound feature. Well, that's fine. But as far as I know, those were quite expensive for getting a piece of crap like this. I mean... The teeth... The paint does not even cover it well. It's like... very poorly painted. The eye is like the only good paint application except for... I can't really judge the stripes because the paint job on stripes and those things are not any better on Kenner or on Mattel, but the overall cheapness, it stacks up. It stacks up to make you disappointed. I mean, I could live with this type of paint application if the proportions were better and if it had a claw. I mean, the claw is the main thing that makes this figure so bad. If it had the claw, it would be fine. The claw had maybe better proportions on some of the parts. But the lack of the claw, it's so bad. I mean, I heard stories like that Hasbro got reports that, hey, this figure cannot stand. Should we do something about it? And they say, yeah, do anything that's necessary. And they removed the claw and they approved it before even looking that the claw was gone. And I mean, why? I'm not even sure if I believe that story. The overall quality of this figure is fine if it just had a claw and looked like a raptor. And it's big oversized too. It's a massive raptor. I mean, that's fine if it's like a toy line where it's out of scale from the rest of the stuff, but it's just like Jurassic Park 3. They were overscaled. Those dinosaurs were too big for the humans, but they were not this big. They were okay at least. But they've gotten worse. Look at this Mega Raptor. It's too big even for the Kenner Alan Grant. Then, if you want a big raptor, buy the Kenner Utahraptor. It's a lot cooler. It's actually really cool. I love the Utahraptor. But this, if you compare to this is a Kenner Raptor. Well, the function for the biting action is not that, but it have an articulated jaw. It have the claw. It have good proportions on the arms. You can clearly see that this is a Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. This raptor is not as good as the other Kenner Raptor. It do not have articulated jaw either. But at least it have the claw, and the overall proportions match up. The neck might be too thick up here, but it does not have that many problems that stacks up into one blob of bad. And here you have a raptor with articulated jaw. This one is not perfect. It lacks the white stripes on the paint job. I actually wish this blue had a lot more paint on it, but it's still more decent than this. And it's actually a lot cheaper. So for what you get, this is cheaper. Here you get what you pay for. Here you don't get what you pay for. So as I said, this one is not as bad as the Hasbro T-Rexes from Jurassic World. They are totally crap in super cheap plastic and they look like they will break if you just breathe at the jaw. But talking about this raptor, it's crap too. I mean, it's not good. It have its decent parts, but the problems stacks up. I'm not trying to overpraise Kenner or Mattel. They have flaws too. But the overall sloppiness of the toy lines from Hasbro for Jurassic World, it totally makes it. It totally makes it stacks up into becoming something really, really bad. So if you really want a sturdy raptor, you can get one of the later releases that had the claw, or alternate stuff like the blue figure with the claw and sound features. That would be at least a little bit more worth it. This one, hold on to your butts. This one is crap. It's a Velocicraptor Delta, and I don't recommend it. If you have it, keep it because it's fun, but do not buy one unless it's like so cheap that you could like buy it like buying an ice cream in the food store if you find it secondhand. But no, unless you really, really like it, don't. You can get any of the other Raptors for a decent price online. Buy the Mattel ones while they're still sold right now, or buy the Kenner ones, or if you want a Hasbro Raptor, buy a later release, or even better, buy the Jurassic Park 3 Raptors. They are actually really good. And this one, I'll keep it. I'm not the one to throw out stuff. I'm going to keep it. It's a black sheep of the collection, but I will keep it. I have plans for it. It will suffer in a future review. But until now, buy a good Raptor. So for the first time, I do not recommend the item I reviewed. And until next time, take care and sayonara.